All right, I'm going to talk about my work, particularly as an expert witness. And the reason why I chose this was right after they gave me the second invitation, I just came from court where I testified. This is in Subic. And it actually had been frustrating because there's something that came up. And I thought, I need a way, a venue by which to explain what is it that I do as a forensic pathologist. See there, it's more fun in the Philippine courts, and therefore I'll walk you through the crazy things we have around. What you watch on TV, yung mga CSI, etc., Law and Order, etc. That's so far from what's it like in the Philippines. All right? So I'm going to start with this. Especially, I have a picture here. I love showing this picture because I think I look good here. This is the press con, the lawyers, the defense. I was with the defense. We had right after I testified. Okay? And after speaking to the media, one reporter whispered to me, "Doc, galit na galit sa inyo yung nanay." Talaga. And in fact, this came out. She was quoted saying that, this was particularly hard on me. Hindi yung sa picture lang babasehan, sa libro na lintik na yan. Okay? That was painful, yung lintik part. And so I think I have to explain ano trabaho ko. Right? So taking off from there, as a witness, right, there are three main types of witness. One is you're just relating what you sensed, what you saw, what you heard, etc. So they call you an ordinary witness, basic senses. And then if you are a professional, and then you relate to the court what you saw in the practice of your profession, like you're a surgeon, then that makes you a professional or fact witness. But the higher level is if you are an expert witness. That means you need not have been there. Of course, you did not see it, you did not perform any procedure, but they can expound hypothetical questions to you, and therefore, you can now, using your training experience and so on, come up with an opinion. Right? So, I am usually tapped as an expert witness in the Philippines, interpreting findings, etc. Now, just to give you an idea, in the United States, they don't have a single judge. They have a jury system. And then on top of that, there is a judge who supervises the entire thing. This was a mail received by my uncle, a doctor in Washington State, just to show you, inviting him as a juror. Okay? So it's a panel. I just want to show you how organized they can be. I don't know if you can see the details. So this was a piece of paper mailed to his address. And then there's a cutout here on the leftover part where you are given some sort of an ID and even a bus pass on the right. So everything is taken care of. All you have to do is to appear in court. Now you flip this, and there are instructions. And again, I don't know if you can see the details. But there's something there that I wrote down. Parang pang-konsyensya yun eh. That this is your duty, this is a privilege, right? And you'd better do it. Nowhere in the document would you see something threatening, like fail not under penalty of the law, or something like that. Why do I say that? Because in the Philippines, that is the norm. Right. Now, I'm a forensic pathologist, and my practice in the Philippines is very much different from a forensic pathologist abroad. Would be what we call a medical examiner or a coroner. So it's this big blue thing in my pie chart. In the Philippines, I teach. And actually, that is my major frustration. I should be working as a medical examiner, as a forensic pathologist. That blue thing should be cases, right? Okay. that the court part, the violet purple part, that is very much part and parcel of forensic pathology work, whether here or abroad. Okay, so I'm just focusing on this part, the court appearances and so on. This is from a book showing you a forensic pathologist testifying. Okay, very professional. What's he wearing? Formal suit. Not really a white coat. Okay, and what's he doing? He's gesturing to the court, particularly the jury, some injuries on the body that he found. Okay, here's another picture. He's a very prominent. He's a lawyer, doctor, forensic pathologist. This is Cyril Wecht, an author of so many books. He's been to the Philippines several times, and I have conferred with him regarding some cases and so on. So this is classic courtroom work for a forensic pathologist as an expert witness. You see at the back, that's the judge. Okay, you see the court set up. It's so neat, it's so nice. Actually, what you see on TV, right? And again, he's not wearing a coat, but he's so formal. He is holding some props, and there's also this head, because he is explaining the injuries to the court. Okay, so this is abroad. So you have your forensic pathology expert witnesses who testify. Okay, but what about the Philippines? Well, the good thing I can say is, kayo ba, meron na kayong cartoon na lumabas sa dyaryo? This is one of my claims to fame. This is a Subic Rape Case, very controversial also 7 years back. And that's me, because cameras were not allowed inside the courtroom. There were artists. This was Steph Bravo of PBI, and I loved it because that's it. Meron akong cartoon. Okay? How do you get to court? You get something like a brown envelope in the mail. What mail are we talking about? Not email. It is snail mail. That's why I have that Lady Justice on a snail there. Because literally and figuratively, it's really slow. Okay? So on this brown envelope, Libriana Postal Service, given to the Department of Justice, Supreme Court, etc. Okay? They send it to you, and you get it. And in this particular case, nakita nyo doon, it wasn't really addressed to me. But it says there, forward to Pedro Hill, Dr. Fortun, Pathology, which is weird, right? And then you have it like this. People of the Philippines versus somebody, and then the criminal case number on the left, and then the instruction, what to do, etc., etc. Okay? But I was wondering, bakit napunta sa akin to? Kasi the letter and the envelope was addressed to the medical legal officer of PGH. Excuse me, I am not the medical legal officer of PGH. I don't think the hospital has one. Okay? Anyway, napunta sa akin yan. Okay? And then, so I have these problems about how do I deal with this. You call them subpoena. Okay? And then it says there, subpoena duces tecum et testificandum. Nice, no? Mouthful. But it simply means you are ordered to go there to testify and bring documents with you. Alright? But then I have problems. Unang-una, Your Honor, what is this case you are referring to? Bakit? Ganyan ang heading niya, oh. People of the Philippines versus somebody as the accused. And then subpoena to me. And then, I don't know what case this is all about. Huhulaan ko pa. Ito ba ay namatay, yung toxico? Or a patient in PGH na buhay? Something like that. Ang mangyayari niya, susulat pa ako sa court. Right? Okay. And then, I don't like this. I'm sorry, may pagkasensi ako. Meron silang threat. Pero not under the penalty of the law. Okay? Something like that. Pwede bang nakikiusap sila actually? This particular case, where the court was in North Zagaray, Bulacan. At least land travel pa yun, ha? Pero tinignan ko sa mapa, North Sagaray is medyo malayo talaga yun, diba? Paano ko pupunta dyan? So I was texting the party concerned. I have to charge, right? Nagalit si judge. Nagalit. So I have this order from him. Dami sinabi, oh. Unconscionable, exorbitant daw yung fee, right? And there was a threat. Again, drastic disciplinary measure will be imposed upon me. And for this case, I had to consult a lawyer. Well, the good news is I have a lot of lawyers in the family. And I asked, ano pang gagawin ko dito? Sabi nila, pumunta ka na lang. And then bahala na. Okay, and I got to court. The first thing that the judge did was to call me and the lawyer, I think, to his chambers. And what did he do? He apologized. So, ewan daw kung sindakan lang to. Right? So, I testified. Bahala na. And somehow, nagbigay ng panggasolina yung party. Okay? So, ganyan ang buhay. They just take it for granted. Okay? Something as basic as, where is the court to begin with? Yung heading ng letter mo, it just says the town. I keep asking, Supreme Court, DOJ, mga friends ko, etc., pwede ba idagdag nyo man lang the exact address and the telephone number? Something as basic as that. But they don't do that. Okay? So in the Philippines, the next step is, sige, subpoena, you go to court. Have you ever been to any Philippine court? Bata pa ito. You have not been charged yet. Diba? Okay? Ay, nako. You'll see how bad we are when it comes to, government offices and so on. I've seen the whole gamot. Yung mga tipong remote province and then you just have a classroom that was turned into a courthouse or something like that. But I'll take you to the other extreme spectrum in Makati. Iba sa Makati. Ibahin. Right? Now, this was the Subic Rape Case. Special yan daming media attention, etc. So, actually, the hearing was moved to a very nice courthouse with very good decorative bas relief in wood thingy at the back. Okay, so nice yun. So this is again one of the drawings of Steph Bravo, Inquirer. And the setup is just like in other countries. You have a judge over there, and then the witness sits. That's the stand, okay? They call it the stand, but you sit. And then you have the lawyers in front, and then the audience or the people there. And I remember this case very well because one side you have the defense, the other you have the prosecution. Talagang meron siyang great divide. Okay. Now in Makati, right, that building, yung questionable construction, etc., right, I have to say that they have very nice courtrooms. Doon nagsushooting usually sa Philippines, right? The all-wood thing abroad, it's there, comfortable, air-conditioned, etc. So this is one shot, and then you go to other places, medyo bababa ka na ng standards, mag-iiba na itsura, but you have still the flag, okay, the basic layout, and then you have this big calendar. They're so dependent on that when they're setting hearings and so on. But you notice, usually meron yang mga tambak sa tabi, and the chair. Look at that chair. Mono black. Okay, so medyo bumababa na tayo. Right? This is in Cebu. Magulo. And maraming kalat. I don't know if this is evidence from other cases, and that's not unusual that you'd have that. Okay, so this is in Cebu. Vintage equipment, like typewriters. So, pwedeng yung court ay tambakan din. That happens too. So, iba-iba siya. But basically, the judge would come from somewhere. Parang magic. And then somebody will say, all rise, and then you rise. And then you'll sit there, and then look at this. That's my chair. The monoblock on the left is the witness stand, okay? And I tell you, disente na yan. Right? This is supposed to be the chair for the fiscal. You know, the state prosecutor. Special person na yun, eh? And look at the chair. Kawawa naman. Right? This is in Bulacan. While waiting for the judge, count how many different types of chairs there are. So they were scrounged from just about anywhere, right? But look, the witness chair is there on the right, and again, wood, medyo decente. This was my worst experience. This was my chair. And I knew something was wrong with it. Nung nakaupo ako ng ganyan, I wasn't leaning back because the backrest was really off. Tanggal na. Okay? Incidentally, that's my water. Kanya-kanyang baon yan. And then when I started to move, nako, nagiba. And that has nothing to do with my weight. Nagiba na siya. Buti na lang nag-recess and they had to replace the chair. And they gave me a monoblock. I don't know if you see it, but there is something also sneaky sa gitna. Nakikita niya? There's a stain. May white stains. Oh, is this somebody's body fluid? Okay. Anyway, generally, I don't get a smooth sailing all the time. And these are among the classic moments I've had in court. One, I am not a doctor of the living if the subject in question is alive. Okay, pang doctor daw ako ng patay. But that's not true. Because forensic pathology also deals with the living. That's clinical forensic pathology. Classic wasn't there. Of course not. I'm not there as a witness, you know, having seen it and so on. I wasn't there, right? That I am biased, and that has something to do with payment. Is it wrong to be paid, to charge? Of course not. So when I'm asked in court, were you paid? Yes. Gusto ko humirit, just like the lawyers here. Because this is professional service. There's nothing wrong with that. Okay? The weirdest, the moment so far I've had is in one case, the lawyer kept harping on my work in PGH, something like that PGH does not pay me. What are you talking about? I have my salary being drawn from the UP Manila, College of Med, because I have a faculty appointment. And in fact, the thing is, if you have a faculty appointment, then PGH will not pay you anymore. Parang ganon. But what kind of payment are we talking about? Do you know doctors from PGH? Do you know how PGH pays them? There is an honorarium of 200 pesos a month. Less tax, so that's 180 pesos a month. Okay, so it's not really something to die for. And so, for the Subic Rape Case, several years back, the defense tried to get me. They could not because I said I committed already the prosecution. And then when I sat there, they tried to discredit me so much, so hard. Okay? I was testifying for several days on my CV alone until the judge said, okay, I need time to determine if Dr. Fortun is an expert witness for that. So several days after, he came up with an order and he came up with a decision that no, I am not just a doctor for the living. I am qualified and therefore I am accepted as an expert witness. Okay, so let's go back to this. So do you now have an idea, okay, what I really would like to tell the mother, and this is the few minutes that I've had with you, I have emphasized what she was complaining about. She was saying that wala naman ako doon, hindi naman ako nakakita. But of course that is not what I'm there for. I brought a lot of books, okay? Yung mga libro na lintik na yan. Because what I'm saying is backed up by science. Okay? And then, So what naman, pero ang tanong, ang totoo, ano yung nangyari or something like that. The truth is what had happened or something like that. But I'd like to end with the fact that, come on, that is what I was there for, the truth. I tell you, it's very, very interesting and challenging. Thank you very much.